was scared of what people will think about me when nobody cares. Everybody's caught up in their own stories, And that's why I chose my niche of an authenticity coach to help others go through that awful process that I went, but not being alone. Just being able to hold their hand and be like, that's okay, we're going to make it. We're going to figure it out together. So that was a long, long, long story.
So we are on record now. Hello everyone. Welcome to the Fearless Woman channel. And I'm your host, Simmran Rathi, a relationship coach. And with all my heart, I welcome Lorena, authenticity coach. And it's such an honor to have you here, Lorena, because, she is not only an amazing coach, she's such a warm soul that when you listen to her, you cannot help but admire her. And I don't want to take her limelight anymore. So, Lorena, why don't you introduce yourself to us?
Well, first of all, thank you so much, Simmran. Thank you for having me here. It's always a pleasure to see you. We are fellow coaches and we're both part of Fearless Women. So I got to know you as well. So it's an honor to be here with you. And like you said, I am an authenticity coach. I am also a poet. So now I'm mixing my coaching, my authenticity with poetry, which I'm very excited about. I am a mom of 3. And that's what I am right now. But I've been in very different roles all my life. But I have to say, this is like my favorite.
And everyone should know, just like us, Lorena also plays multiple roles in her life, like she said, which is going to make her experiences even more relatable and trusting for us. And when you said that poetic thing, that's something that you guys should stay tuned for. We are going to dive into that as well. So, Lorena, you said that you're an authenticity coach, right? So, can you help us a little? What does that mean for us? Like, if we come to you for our authenticity, how would it feel? What kind of changes we would have in our life?
Yes. Well, before we start with that, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, about how because, authenticity was a word that I didn't even have in my vocabulary. But, I come from Argentina, from a small town in Argentina. And when I was very young, 15 years old, my mom, she was already a widow from her second marriage. My father left when I was 1. And we were at the beach. My mom was, by herself with a friend, but she wasn't in a relationship, so she's single. And somebody came by the beach asking if to sign up their daughters or whoever, sign them up for a beauty contest in Uruguay. This was a beach in Uruguay. And at the time, this was 1990. It was very popular, and it was like it wasn't like now, that it's like they don't exist anymore. So my mom took the opportunity to sign me up, so like that she could go to all the parties that they come when you're getting prepared, right? And I was like, okay, whatever. That never occurred in my mind. I never thought that I was or cute or anything at all. And anyway, so I ended up doing the contest and I won that contest. Yes. So that gave me the opportunity. I got a lot of offers to model all over the world with like Ford models in New York, in Paris. So a lot of prizes, and I became popular very, very fast, especially in Argentina. But I had all these offers around the world. And the fact that my childhood, I never felt like I belonged anywhere. I didn't have roots, my parents divorced. I lived with my grandma for a while, then she passed away. I had no attachment to anything. And I was like, I want to go. I just want to get out of here. I want to find my place in the world. So my mom was not happy about that. But she was like, okay, if you feel like you're mature enough to follow your heart and be a model and live in another country, I will emancipate you and you're going to have to start taking care of yourself from now on. So that's what I did, right? So I went to a different continent to try to find happiness, to find myself. And I became very successful. One of the reasons is because I had no money and I had become so skinny that everybody was like, oh my God. It was the time where like being super skinny was in fashion. And so I fit perfectly, not because I wanted to, but because I had no money. So I became very, very, very successful. Uh, Still didn't feel like I belong anywhere. And I was like, okay, I'll be happy when I'll be in a cover of a magazine. And then I was in the cover of a magazine and I was like, oh, happy for like 5 seconds. And then
And
I'm
you
like, yeah. Then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be happy when I'm in a commercial. I did that too. Mm. So anyway, I did it all. I was very, very successful when I was young, and still felt like it was something missing. Um, this was a job that was focused all in the outside. So it's like my spirit, my creativity I wasn't really able to show it with that. So I was always being what others want me to do. You want me to be sexy, you want me to be childish, you want me to be professional, and that's it. And that was a role that I played my whole life, really, because since I was a child, I was always told to don't scream so much, or don't sing too loud, don't wear that. So I learned how to keep the peace and to feel love, to be what everybody else wants me to be. And it was easier. And then it became just who I was. And then obviously this career was feeding out of that as well. It was not letting me find myself and what do I want. So I continue like that. Then I was like, oh, I'll be happy when I move to New York, because I was in Paris and London at the time. So I moved to New York, still the same. I made money, have my own place, still feeling unsatisfied. I did stand-up comedy for a while. So that was I started to see myself a little more there, because it was good to tell my awful stories, but in a way that people will laugh at them. So everything became a little lighter. So I was starting to find myself again. And I met who is my husband right now. After being in horrific relationships, which we need a lot of time if you want me to talk to you about that, I finally find someone that was normal. He was divorced, he already had kids.
special.
Yeah, normal is the best
Normal
nowadays.
is special.
Special, yes, but I had such a crazy relationships that for me it was peaceful. It was the first time that I had somebody taking care of me in my whole life. So I got really, really attached to him, and I'm like, okay, I'll be super happy once I get married and I have children, which I did. And of course, I was super happy, but I still always felt like it was something missing. Always. And this became worse and worse, because now I had it all. I was successful, financially secure. I had my house, my husband, my kids. Like on paper, my life was a dream. It was perfect. And I was just still feeling like I was trapped inside, like if I was in a straight jacket, like I had no freedom, that I wasn't being myself. I didn't even know who I was. And that was the beginning of my journey. I had a time that was really, really dark. Some people call it the dark night of the soul, where you're just like, when people talks about just getting in their knees and just crying and be like, whatever, please
Looking
give
up.
me yes. And the more I talk about it, the more I see that I'm not the only one that had those moments. When I start talking about my story, I found that a lot of us go through a period like that. We kind of adapt to what society, family, religion, friends, your environment wants you to be, and you think that that's what you're supposed to do, right? But there is really no recipe of how we can live our life. And we all are born, I believe, with a gift, a purpose, something that we need to share that's unique to us. And I had not been able to find and share that. So it's burning inside. It's like your inner child, your essence, your authentic self is like, just get me out. I have so much stuff to do. What is happening? So when I had those moments, I just didn't. I tried everything. So I heard meditation was good, so I started meditating. I became a meditation coach. I prayed. I got all the books for self-development that you can imagine, and start reading and watching documentaries on like, what is this? Like midlife crisis. It's like, what's happening? And meditation,
Existential questions.
existential questions. I
Mhm.
started doing yoga, and just meditation, yoga, it started like kind of opening a little bit the doors for me to get more curious about what's for real, which for me is to grow as a human being spiritually, to get to a point to understand life, to get rid of the limiting beliefs and all the material things that we're supposed to accumulate through life, and see what's important, right? So I started opening doors. Still, I was like, not connecting. Like I couldn't feel like a total love, not even with my family or my children, obviously not with myself, right? So I was like, okay, creativity. I start creating. I start cooking, and I end up going through like a plant medicine retreats because I just wanted to find myself. And after I did that and I start feeling better, I ran into advertising for Shetty life coaching. And I didn't know what it was, but something inside me, because I was already doing the work and starting to open
Soul
my
calling.
intuition. Yes. I was like, I'm doing that. And that was the beginning. And then I realized by studying in how to be a coach, that was happening is that I wasn't being myself. I was just, going through life with the rules that life gives you. And that was killing me inside. So then I started working on that. I start like connecting with people from my past. I start remembering the things that used to make me happy and doing more of that. I start realizing how I was scared of what people will think about me when nobody cares. Everybody's caught up in their own stories. And that's why I chose my niche of an authenticity coach, to help others go through that awful process that I went, but not being alone. Just being able to hold their hand and be like, that's okay. We're going to make it. We're going to figure it out together. So that was a long, long, long story to answer your question.
It's like you have been so vulnerable with us, and if you could sense it, I was like all the time, yeah, I know how that feels. And you have shared so many things that I'm sure most of our viewers and all the women around us has have felt at one or the other moment in their life. All the societal struggles, conditioning us to fit into boxes, into checklists. And then we just have to step out into the world, trying to explore and find our own self, find our own place. And whatever you said about, that you were doing so many things, but you felt there was something missing. So you had that thirst to find your life purpose, which we are so glad that you did, so that you are here with us today. And I think you said that how we reclaim ourselves back. So I think Lorena just wants to ask all of you, who were you before the world told you who to be?
Oh, who I was. Well, I was a happy child. I was always, and this is something that I started thinking about when I was just totally lost, because I was a mess. A mess. And not everybody has to go through that, okay? Because
Beautiful mess.
yeah, I was a beautiful mess. And I was like, so who was I? And I remember being a child and just being careless and not caring about, going outside and playing with frogs and getting dirty. I wasn't someone that liked to like being around a lot of people and just a lot of relationships. No, I was very selective with the people that I had around, and I enjoyed my time by myself. And you know what I always remember? When I was around maybe 5 or so, I lived in an apartment with my grandmother. And we had a little room that was the laundry room, and we would put all the stuff that didn't fit in the house. And I used to get in there and put my Wonder Woman cape and have very long conversations with my invisible friend. That his name was Andreu, and I still remember his name. And I could swear that, I mean, he was like my best friend. And now thinking about it, it's just like I always believed that I wasn't alone. That I mean that we're human beings, but we're spiritual beings living in a human life. You know, I feel like we're all connected with each other, and even with people that passed away. I feel like we're never alone, really. Now I understand we're all energy. But you know, when life starts telling us that there's something wrong with us and we should do this and not that, it's like we cover our light with layers and layers of like fear of judgment, and like not being able to set boundaries, and being a yes person, and just taking the beating just not to make a mess, and being insecure of showing who we are. Because when we show who we are, we become vulnerable. It's like we're naked, right? Because when we become who we are open to people to say things and judge us and scrutinize us. But after everything, and I start doing that, and I start just showing who I was, the good, the bad, the ugly, that just feels so good, so much better than not being yourself, that always having to wear a mask, depending where you are, just to fit in, which fitting in is very different than belonging. When you fit in, and I was able to fit in, you know, when I was pretending to be what everybody's want, because fitting in is changing who you are to adapt to certain people or situation. But belonging is being able to be you wherever you are, you know, is feeling at home. Because when you're connected with yourself, you know who you are, you're at home. Nothing can take that away from you. Nothing can be like, I'm going to take her joy. I'm going to take her authenticity. I'm going to take, no, this is mine. I have it in me. I didn't invest. I used to invest on others, right? Like being like, okay, my husband is going to make me happy. So I build my house in him, right? But then what happened if he will walk away? Then I'd be like homeless. Where will I belong? Right? So you're like, so then when
And all
I
the right
start,
things.
right? And then when I start my coaching, I'm like, I'm going to build my home inside me. So no matter what happens, I'm never going to be homeless. I'm always going to belong, you know, because I have everything I need inside me. I always have a place to go. Even if I'm in the middle of nowhere by myself, I always have a place to go. So this is what I work the most with my clients, because whatever issue my clients come with, it always comes back to who you are. Like, you know, what's the story you're telling yourself about yourself? Is that true? What do you really want? Oh my God, I don't have so many clients, but what do you want? Do you want so many clients? What do you want? Because sometimes we compare ourselves with everybody. Oh my God, Simmran has this client and she's going to school and this person. But we don't know what everybody is going through to get there, to have the client. You know, we all have a different story, and we can change it and make it better and make it a story that will help us, not hinder us, right? So when the client starts seeing, oh, well, this is what I want, and what's happening, like why is not happening, a lot of time comes back to that, comes back to like confidence, limiting beliefs, and everything comes from not being comfortable and accepting and loving who you are just like you are, you know?
Yeah, and I think you've given us a very powerful reminder that if we want to feel like Wonder Woman, we have to remember that being you is your superpower.
Yeah,
And
that's it.
I loved how you not only shared your journey, but you gave us some really powerful tools, like connecting with your inner child, positive self-talk, and there was one more last thing that I just got lost listening to you. so admirably that, you talked about knowing that what is it that who you are you really, that you ask your clients. And I really loved all those tools. Oh,
Yeah.
so if I had to ask you about your new endeavor, your poetic approach, where did that come from? Tell us more about it.
Well, one of the tools that I used before coaching, when I was searching for everything, I found a workshop about writing poetry. So I signed myself up. I don't know, like this is what happened really when you start really wanted to connect, to get better, to be part of something bigger, to find your purpose. Life is going to give you those little serendipities, and they happen all the time. But we need to be alert, and the more you meditate, you quiet your mind, you connect with that, right? And then you trust the universe is going to show you. So it showed me this poetry workshop, and I did a lot of them. I did like 5 of them during COVID, and for me, I was able to really see what was happening inside, right? Because I will write poetry about feeling alone and broken, and I was just like, wow, I can't believe actually I am going through all this. Who am I? And I was talking about I am just a mother or just a model or just a wife, and I was like, I'm not. These are things that they happen in my life, but that's not who I am, because everything can be taken away from me, and who I am is going to be here. I need to take away all those layers and see who I am, and then I can share it with the world and do this and do that. But so poetry, it was like a mirror for my soul, right? It was like a door to the depth of who I was, and I fell in love with that, because every time I will write poetry, I will feel so much better, and I will get to know myself so much more. And then I went to Morocco to take a poetry class in Morocco. So I was writing poetry in such beautiful places. I mean, I started seeing everything in color after seeing things in black and white for such a long time. When I started writing poetry, it's magic. And it's funny because when you sit down with a pen, a paper, and an intention, it's almost that it's not even you who's right. It's just, your soul, your inner child, your essence, whatever it is, it just comes through you. You're just a vehicle for that. And those words were really powerful for me. So that was a tool. That was one of the things that led me to even grow, to grow in my spiritual journey. Then I found coaching. And it wasn't up until a little bit ago that I was like, how can I share this tool with my clients in a way that could be part of their healing, that I could coach them, and if they wish, we can use poetry as a tool. And I saw it very clear. It's beautiful, you just show up, you have an intention, you know what you have to work on. Me as a coach, I can see, what will help you. So I will give you prompts about the subject, a couple of them, and then just make a writing. Poetry doesn't have to rhyme, doesn't have to be long or short. Poetry is whatever. It could be 3 words. They just have to be meaningful and powerful for you. And then you can see what's in there. And then once you write and you dump everything in the paper, then we can even coach out of that, which is a different way, because some people, it's almost like it's almost like a little bit of a disconnection just to see things without our self-judgment, because we have the paper, it's separated from us, and then we can ask questions out of that as well. Why do you think this came out? Does that remind you of something? Were you being authentic at that time? I mean, so many things that they come naturally, once we already have that lead. So I created a course that's coming up in September, which I really hope you can make it. And it's going to be kind of like a group, so like that we can do that, because what is beautiful about doing this with a group is that you get feedback from your peers. And then you realize that you're not the only one, that we can see ourselves in everybody's poetry, in everybody's story, right?
And the more I get to know you, the more connected I feel. And I need to get back to you on this poetry thing. But I loved how you said that, you said that everything in your life can be gone, can walk away, but you're the one that's going to be left. So if I'm the person that I have to spend the rest of my life with, I got to be a good one. I need to love and accept myself, right? Wow, Lorena. I'm just, wow.
No, but you know how simple it is, but we just make things so complicated because we are programmed since we are born. I mean, not only our family, which is not their fault because they've been programmed by someone else, but then our religion that gets all mixed up, by people that has different intentions with things. And then we carry guilt and shame from if we don't follow the rules. It's just like we live with this negative load that doesn't belong to us, for God's sake. Jesus, God, whoever was able to forgive everyone, to just let go, to not judge. We can do that. Whatever it is that you believe, like we can do that. There's no, when we face our shame and when we share it with others, it loses power. Because shame doesn't like empathy at all. So if somebody connects with us and can really see us, it loses power. And then we become lighter. And when we were empathic with ourselves, we can be empathic with others. Because when we're miserable, we are always going to try to put others down so we feel better about ourselves, right? And it's hard for us to celebrate others' achievements because we feel like we're not doing it. We're not doing anything
Or
to get better.
sometimes it's also the other way around. Like we are very good at, being non-judgmental for others, being there for them, celebrating them all the time. But when it comes to us, we don't feel worthy enough.
Yeah,
So
we think that,
the
yeah,
other way around too.
yeah. But it's important to get inspired instead of when somebody does something that we love to do, instead of being like, oh, she's already doing it, she can do it, but I'm not going to be able to do that, right? But be like, wow, if she can do it, I can do it. Like, I'm just going to try. I'm going to ask for help. How did you do that? And this is something that even us as coaches with other coaches, sometimes we feel intimidated by asking, oh my God, I love how you did that pose. What did you do? Because we feel like they're going to think that we're trying to copy us or
And
that
we
we
do
don't
that.
know.
We do that in our community. We do that. We all learn from each other.
We all so we thank goodness, but we all, being a coach, whatever it is, we should surround ourselves with a tribe of people that believe in us and that we admire, and we want to be like them. We want to learn, and then you start feeding each other and being honest, and when we share our struggles, is I mean, it's important to share our triumphs, but when we share our struggles, there is something about that makes you so vulnerable, that opens your heart. It's like you are being so generous with your essence, with your story, and we are so lucky that we have our fearless bunch, right? That we can always relate. A couple of weeks ago, I went through a tough time. I was just not having a good experience with my husband and my kids when we were in vacations, and I lost it. And I know you saw. I just sent you guys a mass message being like SOS. Who is coming to the rescue before I lose it? And you guys showed up and listened to me and asked me for questions, and that was healing just by itself. Just knowing that we're not alone, and that we're going to get the truth from the people around us, that we don't have to pretend, that it's okay, like one day we might feel happy, one day we might not, but we surround ourselves with people that accept us just like we are, and Oh my God, that is a huge part of being happy and having a fulfilled life.
And I think something really important for our viewers is that Lorena said that all of us were there because she sent that message, which means if you want to be held by others, you have to first, use your voice, ask for help. And
Yes.
you will expect others to accept you if you have accepted yourself.
Yes.
Lorena,
And that is huge. That's huge, Simran. Asking for help and asking for what you want, because I'm going to go back to fearless now. Because once I was being a coach and I'm so excited that I found my authenticity, I saw you and Denise like coming together with this nonprofit organization. And I was like, it's my dream to be able to be a part of something, because Fearless Woman is going to be so huge that start packing your bags. We're going to travel the world. We're going to help women everywhere. I mean, this is going to be fantastic. And I saw it. I saw what you guys were doing. I saw you. I saw your soul. And I just write you guys. And I was like, I want to be a part of that. Whatever you're doing, what can I do? And it takes a little bit of guts to do that, right? But I know if I would have done that, I would have regretted my whole life. I wouldn't be here today. So when you get that feeling that you know you want that, just jump on it. Ask, what's the worst that could happen? A no, you already have the no.
it's one life, one chance, one time. You better gotta take it. And because you really resonate with this fearless thing, because you have been so fearless all your life. So that is my next question, that how do you feel that all the wonderful women listening to us, how can they fearlessly be themselves? How can they embrace their authenticity without any fear? How can we be our fearless self? If you had to tell us, what would you say?
Well, first of all, you need to take a look at yourself and be honest. Who am I? You know, up until now, how I have been, what kind of person I was. Am I happy with that? Is this who I really want? Is this aligned? The things that I'm doing, that I'm saying, that I'm sharing, is aligned with my values, with my beliefs, with my passions? And then you take it from there. If it's not, let's do something about it. What do you want? All right, let's make a little plan. What could be a little tiny little step that can get me closer to the person that I want to be? So you start working on yourself. Awareness is the first thing. Who I am, who I want to be, what's happening, and then accept who you are. Okay, yes, I did a lot of things that I don't want to say regret, because at the end of the day, whatever it is that I did, it brought me here, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. So, but what are the things that I wasn't so proud of, or that I was ashamed of? Like, think, like, whatever we did at the time that we did that we're not proud of, it was the best that we could do with who we were and who we know. So if now we feel bad about that, that means that we're already in our way up. We're already growing, right? So accept yourself, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Forgive yourself, forgive others. Let's stop putting the responsibility of our life in anyone else, because no one can do anything to us if we don't give the permission to. I mean, there's of course things that they happen when we're kids but I'm just saying, like in your normal life, like we cannot let other people judge us and make us feel bad about who we are. So you forgive, you forget, you know who you are, and then let's start seeing what are the things that they bring me joy. Because the things that they bring you joy are going to connect you with who you truly are. So what is it? It's painting, poetry, being around kids, walking in nature, whatever it is that make you happy. Let's do more of that.
Listening to Lorena makes me happy.
You make me happy. But let's do more of what makes us happy, because that's when we connect with our essence, because we are all beings of joy, like joy, happiness, peace. This is all our birthright. We don't have to work for it. We just have to get rid of the things that they don't connect with us, and knowing that life is going to throw so many things at you. But if you believe in yourself, if you're strong, you can open your mind and be like, okay, I can do this. What can I do about this? Can I do something? Yes. Okay, let's do it. I cannot do something? Okay, so let me just accept things like they are and then change things from now on. So being who you are, doing the things that you love, and being at service. Being at service is super important, because when I have moments of feeling insecure and down or disconnected, I do something for others, and I reset to pure joy. The joy of being at service and helping. And it doesn't have to be to just travel somewhere and do in some expedition. It could be just smile at the people that's online in the grocery store. Just ask somebody that seems sad, what's going on? Are you feeling okay? How can I? Those little things. I mean, you can do big things too, but sometimes we're like, oh, what am I supposed to do? I have no money. I have nothing. Our purpose can be so simple, just like being. Just carrying that positivity that when you walk somewhere, people gets happier. That could be your purpose, and anyone can do that.
And again, as you said, that just connect with people and do what makes you happy. To be able to do that, you have to embrace your authentic self. Most of the women drop out of the things that they love or they would love to do because they are so conscious about their own self.
Yeah.
Right? Wow. Thank you, Lorena. So that brings me to another interesting question as we are towards the end of our conversation. If you had to leave our audience with one poetry prompt that could change their lives, what would that be?
I will think about a time, write a poem about a time that you felt your most authentic self.
Oh my God.
Right? And where were you? How did that feel like? And who was around you? And that could be the first step to put yourself in that position again.
Wow. So I've written that as well, and I hope our viewers reflect on it as well. And guys, if you have any reflections or you write a poem using Lorena's prompt, do send it to us. She would love to read it. All of us would love to read it.
Yes, and you can share it in fearlesswoman.org. That's correct. The website.
And tag us.
Yes. So we're going to put that in the notes too, or you can send it to the website, and we have a community as well that anybody can join in Circle. So you can post it there, or you can go in Instagram of Fearless Women 2023, and just post it there and tag any of us, any of the coaches for Fearless Women, and we'd love to see it. And if you have more questions, you can always ask us, and let's keep in touch, and let's be fearless together.
Like every time you were listening to Lorena and her experiences, you must have realized that you are not alone. We are all women from different countries, different parts of the world, different age, ethnicity, maybe different circumstances, but we all have such similar experiences and a similar essence, right? So Lorena has made all of us feel today that we are not alone. And we want all of you to know that you are not alone. And we are all here to remind you that. But you just have to, speak up or listen to us.
Yes, we'll be right there.
Yeah.
And I hope you'll be there for me too, because the fact that, we take initiative into helping and getting better, that doesn't mean that life is always going to be butterfly for us, because there's always another step. And it's not that when you find your authentic self or your purpose, that's it. You win the game. Ding, ding, ding. No. You always have to do the work. I have to do the work. You have to do the work. Everybody. It's just a continuous connection, and work, and that's life. That's life. But it's a lot easier to continue doing the work, to being aware, that then just go back to old habits and then having to start again. So don't forget, make it fun. Make it fun and listen to yourself and your heart, and definitely follow your heart.
And also, please follow Lorena also.
Yes, me too. Thank you.
So thank you so much, Lorena. A deep, heartfelt conversation that I've had with you. It has really re-energized me and our audience too, I hope, wherever you are and wherever you're listening from. And as we are bidding goodbye to you all, any final word, Lorena?
No, just I think that we already said everything that we had to say. Please connect with us through Fearless, and share our videos. If anything had helped you, please share it with people that you love, and let's all work together. We're here at the same level. We're just creating an army of fearless souls. So the more, the better. Open up, tell your story, ask for help, and let's do this work together, which is a lot nicer.
And another way to connect with us more closely and warmly is to join our monthly Zoom calls. They are free at no cost, and we just design them for a very close one on one conversation. And we have a different theme every month. This month it was voice and advocacy, to bring to all of you a lifetime of transformation. So until we meet next time, how about a high five?
Thank you so much.